Good afternoon. I want to welcome the Chief and the Commissioners who are standing with me. As the city knows, on Sunday, a baby girl, Keira Holmes, who was to have her second birthday on the 22nd, was senselessly killed in the crossfire between two individuals, or a number of individuals that could not seem to find a way to resolve their differences absent pulling out a gun and shooting at each other. This is the second time in the last year that we have had a young child like this killed in the city. Never in my mind did I think that in my days of public service that we would see that in the city of New Orleans. But reducing murder and eliminating violence on the streets is one of the city's most pressing issues. We have had retaliatory acts of violence throughout the city for some time now. It's been going on for many, many, many years. It has to stop. It's unacceptable, it's unnatural, and it's occurring all over the United States of America, but it is occurring at a higher rate in the city of New Orleans. It is unacceptable. This happened on Sunday. On Monday morning, I called together all of the law enforcement agencies. We convened, we mapped out a plan led by Chief Serpas. We deployed assets throughout the city of New Orleans. I also called together Commissioner Carter and Dr. DeSalvo to put the strategic command in play and ordered them to put the ceasefire initiative, which we announced, in play immediately. We did so. On Monday night, last night, the entire city was able to witness this. The people of New Orleans came together in B.W. Cooper to mourn the loss of this baby girl, to stand with the mother, to basically communicate that when one citizen in New Orleans dies, a piece of us all dies. And we said that we were fed up with it. There was a lot of prayer. There was anxiety and frustration. But the community rallied together again like never before. I want to say this to the people of the city. We have to win this battle. It has fallen to us to attack it, to not turn our heads away from it. The city dies every day when we have senseless killings like this. We're going to find an answer to it, and we have deployed a number of assets to do that. We must win, we have to win, and we have to stay united as a city. And once again, I want to thank the people of the city for coming together, because without their help, the chief would not be able to tell you what he is about to tell you. All of the law enforcement agencies, federal, state, and local, have been working very, very closely together. We do so on a daily basis now. We attack it from the front end, we attack it from the back end. And as I have said, we are in a battle for the heart and soul and the future of the city of New Orleans. We will win because we have to win. It's important to all of us in order to save our city. We have to stop the violence and we have to stop the murder. We have had some success today, and I want to turn it over to Chief to explain in more detail what that means. But again, this can only happen when everybody comes together, when people come forward, when people help, and when people take responsibility for the future of the city in their own hands. Chief Serpas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're here tonight because little Keira Holmes' life was taken senselessly 2 days ago on Arado Street at around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. In that same shooting, 19-year-old Emmett Allen was severely wounded, and he's still listed in critical condition. I can tell you now that 23-year-old Narkee Hunter, who we believe is one of the gunmen who opened fire on Arado Street Sunday, is in the custody of the NOPD and has been so since earlier today. Hunter was picked up by members of the U.S. Marshals Task Force this morning at a house on Wright Avenue in Terrytown. I can also tell you now that 26-year-old Charles Anderson, who was killed yesterday in the 2300 block of North Robinson, is believed to have been another person of interest in this shooting on Sunday. And I can tell you that for two reasons: the tremendous work of the detectives and the tremendous work of our new firearms lab and the work that we're able to do to secure ballistic evidence. Finally, the NOPD is looking for 24-year-old Teorius Oni, who is a person of interest in the shooting from Arado Street and also has a separate warrant for his arrest for the aggravated assault committed the day before against Emmett Allen and Kareem Dahl. This was a lot of information gathered in many short hours by our detectives on the streets, and it's important to tell you two critical pieces came together in this case. One, the detectives' ability to get valuable information directly from the people in this community. The detectives got it directly. And secondly, our renovated crime lab, or our reorganized crime lab, if you will, gave critical pieces of firearms evidence throughout the day where heretofore they would not have been able to do so. I want to commend these detectives and the community for standing together and saying enough is enough. We are still searching for a vehicle. It's a 2007 Chevy Tahoe, white, Louisiana license VCC 068. Louisiana license Victor Charlie Charlie 068. The persons who are involved in these crimes continue to demonstrate a pattern of significant criminal histories. In the case of Narquise Hunter, he's had 4 prior felony arrests and 21 misdemeanor arrests. And Terius Oni has 3 prior felonies and 10 misdemeanor arrests. The people of New Orleans and the people of the neighborhood helped these detectives do nonstop work for over 30 hours to make 1 arrest and have another person of interest that we want to bring back to town to talk to, as well as help us give some relief to this family. Thank you.
We'll take questions.
Chief, did Anderson, do you know any more about Anderson's murder? Was that retaliation, or are Hunter and Oni suspected in that?
We believe at this time that he is definitely linked he was linked as a person of interest to the shooting, and for this period, that's what we can say right now. We can't say any more.
Anderson was.
Anderson, yes, sir.
The shooting of the child.
Yes, he's linked as a person of interest to the shooting of the child. He was murdered yesterday about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and the most we're willing to say right now is that we do know he was linked to the shooting of the child.
Tell us about the 3MG gang, if you could.
It's an ongoing issue that we face in our city and many cities. It's a loosely associated group of young men who participate in different criminal activity. We do have a tremendous amount of intelligence and are using that intelligence to make some assessments on what their role may or may not be in this particular event.
And these guys were a part of that gang, no?
I'm not willing to say that yet.
Right, Brendan. Chief, when you talk about critical ballistic evidence, what does that mean exactly?
What it really means is a year ago today, if we would have been working this case, we would have had to stand and ask for the assistance of JPSO or the Louisiana State Police Crime Lab because our crime lab was so woefully behind and unprepared to do the work. Today, our crime lab is doing the work as we're on the scene. As a result of that, while the detectives are preparing their questioning strategy, while the detectives are preparing their investigative strategy, our crime lab was able to give them several pieces of ballistic information that they could confirm immediately, which means it made us faster. It made us quicker at getting to the questions and answers we needed to for the case.
Say in regards to this incident on Sunday night, are you talking you got bullets, guns, what specifically as far as...
Ballistic evidence.
Mr. Mayor?
I'll tell you more than the feds do.
The governor says he's going to defer to you when questioned about whether to think about bringing the National Guard into New Orleans. What do you say to that?
The National Guard's already here.
Well,
The governor, let me answer your question. The governor has been working with us in partnership for the last year and a half on making sure that the state police and the National Guard gave us the assets that we needed at the time. For the last year, the National Guard and the state police have been part of efforts when I pulled together law enforcement to talk about strategies that can be deployed throughout the city and have continually helped us. The National Guard has helped us train police officers. The National Guard has helped us with intelligence. The National Guard was in my office yesterday morning as part of the development of strategy to actually get out into the street. And they've been a part, and they will continue to be a part on an as-needed basis.
will we see Humvees and guards in the street with guns like we did after the tree?
No.
Evan and then Travis.
Chief, any leads on the 9-year-old that was shot in New Orleans East an hour earlier on Sunday?
No, we do not have any new viable leads that I'd be willing to discuss, and we want to remind people Crime Stoppers is our solution. Please call 822-1111 and give us information. That's a 9-year-old child that we need to be able to give some resolution to their family.
Did Narquise Hunter, he's in custody. Has he confessed or has he said anything? And should Oni, if I'm saying his name right, be considered armed and dangerous given the fact of what he's alleged of doing?
Narquise in custody, and to discuss what he may or may not have discussed would be inappropriate. Oni currently has a warrant on him for aggravated assault from the day before, and the victim was Emmett Allen and another gentleman. So our message to Mr. Oni would be for him to turn himself in and come on in and be answerable to these crimes. And he is a person of interest in the Arato Street shooting at this time.
The last question, Mary.
It's for either the mayor or the chief. Why not put the National Guard back on the streets? What could they or could they not help you with?
Sure.
No, the thing here is that we work together every day with the National Guard, and what they participate in with us is the things that they're specially trained and equipped to do. And their special training and equipment is not in general law enforcement. Local law enforcement, by design, not only in practice and in statute, is left to local law enforcement. We are convinced that the assets that they've given to us in training and investigative support is perfectly suited for the needs that we have in the department.
Let me follow up on that, just to paint a picture for you. If, in fact, there comes a time when we think that that is necessary, we'll absolutely do that and anything else. We continue to work with the FBI, the ATF, the DEA, the National Guard, the state police. They're all in the mix helping us. But again, I want to ask you to think about this. The kinds of killings that have been plaguing the city of New Orleans are occurring between young men that know each other, that are seeking each other out. You will recall a number of different incidences that happened recently where there were very large numbers of police officers and other law enforcement people around. So that is not the kind of protection that at this moment is necessary to solve this problem. It actually helps you take focus off of solving this problem. There have been a number of instances in the city when the National Guard was here after Katrina when murders actually went up. So the correlation, although a simplistic answer to a very difficult problem immediately comes to you, is not the prescription for this problem under these circumstances at this time. If it ever becomes one, I have no doubt that the governor would acquiesce, and I have no doubt that I would be in a position to say, yes, let's bring them in here. The assets that they have are best deployed the way they're being deployed at this time, and again, as I've said, they've been a great partner from the beginning.
Do you look at the situation as a tipping point, this set of crimes over the weekend?
Well, I think that you have to ask the question of New Orleans. If this is not a tipping point, what will be? When will come the time when people of New Orleans will stand up and really say enough is enough? Now, that doesn't mean to just say police do a better job. They do need to do one. Courts do a better job. They do need to do one. DA do a better job. They do need to do one. But at the end of the day, this particular problem, where we have lost the value of life, where young men have figured out that the only way to solve a problem is through a bullet, is a much, much deeper problem that's going to require everybody in the city working and pulling in conjunction. One of the things that worked today and worked a couple of weeks ago when the other matter was handled was that witnesses actually came forward now and said, not only are we not going to talk, we're going to get aggressive, we're going to tell the detectives what we know. When you do that, you can bring people to justice, because at the end of the day, that's what the people of the city want, all of us. And it's going to take everybody in the city to bring people to justice. That's what happened a couple of weeks ago. It's been happening today. I do think, as Brendan asked before, that now that the crime lab is moving in the right direction and people are beginning to come forward and the police department is doing a better job, you're seeing us apprehend perpetrators much, much more quickly and bring them into the justice system. We will do that now. We will prosecute them to the full extent of the law.
All right, thank you.